Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today I have some easy fun folds that you can make just simply by cutting apart one of your standard card bases. And you can create them in two different ways. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have two different fun fold card ideas that I want to share with you, which are actually created by cutting apart a standard card base. Now, the cards in this video feature the Bright Skies bundle from Stampin' Up. So this particular bundle has a stamp set and a coordinating die set. And I am also using some of the Sunny Days Designer Series paper. This particular paper is free with a qualifying purchase during Celebration. Now remember, Celebration ends at the end of February, so don't wait on these. You can get all the details in the description below this video. All right, so let's talk about how to create these fun fold cards. Okay, so you're going to start with a piece of cardstock, which is cut at 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And basically what we're going to do first is we're going to score this in half just to create a standard card base. So we'll score it at 5 1/2 inches. So that basically creates a top folding standard card. So when this card is closed, it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this back in our paper trimmer, and we are just going to cut off a little section off the front of our card. So I'm going to line up the edge of the card base here at 3 1/2 inches, and then I'm just going to make the cut. So I'm left with a 2-inch wide fun fold section here at the top. And then this piece can just be used as is to create the fun fold. However, I did cut mine down. You don't have to cut it down, but I did cut mine down to 3 inches. So this little piece here is 3 by 4 1/4 inches. So now we are ready to make our fun fold card. Okay, so we are going to start by just adding some designer paper to our card base. So I have a 1 3/4 by 4 inch piece of just one of the pattern papers from the Sunny Days Designer Series paper pack. And that's just going to go up here on the top piece. So now what I want to do is I want to take that piece that I cut off here. Now remember, I cut this off of my card front, and then I just cut it down a little bit. But this is going to be our front flap here for the card. So this is a 3 by 4 1/4 inch piece. And I'm going to add a piece of pattern paper to this, which is 2 3/4 by 4 inches. So I'll just add the little cloud design here. And then this piece is just going to get adhered to our card front. So I only want to adhere just the top part. So I'm just going to add some glue over here. And we will just add this right on this front flap up here. So it creates a really fun and very simple little fun fold card. So now that we have this panel adhered, we can go ahead and add some pieces on the inside of the card. So I just cut a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of just a different piece of the pattern paper. And I'm going to adhere this across the entire inside bottom section of the card. And then up on the top, I decided to kind of use the same papers that I did on the front. So I'm going to add the little sun paper here. This is just a 1 3/4 by 4 inch piece. It's the same as the one on the front of the card. And then the last little bit of decorating is up on the top here. I'm just going to add a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 inch piece of that cloud pattern paper. All right, so now that we've added all of our pattern paper, we are ready to add the other decorations to the card. So I just stamped and cut out a few different die cut shapes using the dies from the Bright Skies bundle. So I have a couple cloud shapes and then a little sun here, and that's what I'm going to use to decorate the front of the card. So I like to just kind of lay out my design, and then I like to go ahead and adhere it once I have the design kind of figured out. So I'm going to just add a little bit of glue to the back of this cloud, and we'll adhere it to this one. And I just added a couple dimensionals to the back, and then I'm just going to pop this up kind of off the right side of the card front. And then the same with this. So I kind of have my little sun is right there, and I like to kind of add it so it's tucked behind the cloud a little bit. And then once you have it glued on there, just add a couple dimensionals on the back, and then you can kind of pop this up on the top part of the card. The next thing I did is just stamped a greeting using some Granny Apple Green ink. And I actually just cut these out with a scissors because I didn't want the entire greeting. I just wanted a couple of the words off of here. So I just cut all of these individual words out so that I could create a little saying that says, "You brighten my days." So we'll go ahead and just pop these up with dimensionals and adhere them right to this little flap on this fun fold card. All right, so that is the front of the card. And then to decorate the inside, simply cut a 2 3/4 by 3.5 inch piece of white cardstock. So I'm just gonna add this right here so that when this fun fold comes over, you can't see this piece that's on the inside. So I just try to line it up with this flap that's up here. Then I just used one of the dies from the set to create this little scallop piece. So it's 2 3/4 inches long. It's about 1 inch high. And I'm just gonna add this down on the bottom here just to kind of decorate that up a little bit. And then the last thing I'm going to do on the inside is just add a little flower. So I stamped these images and cut them out with the coordinating dies just using the Bright Skies bundle. And so I'm going to adhere these two pieces together. And just a little tip for you for adhering these pieces, I just kind of lay them together and then I use a dimensional to kind of hold everything in place. So I don't actually glue the pieces together. I let the dimensionals kind of do that. And then I can just tuck this in a spot over here underneath this little scallop shape. So my card says, "You brighten my days." And then on the inside, there's just a really pretty little flower and some designer paper. So it's a very simple card design, and it's a great way to just kind of change up the look of your standard card. Now you can use this exact same layout, this exact same card design, but you can use it in landscape style or in portrait style. So this is the portrait style, and then this one is done in landscape style. But the measurements are exactly the same to create the card base. The only thing I did differently is I turned this one and decorated it in this landscape style, and of course I used other decorations and designer papers to create it. But the concept for creating this fun fold from a standard card base is exactly the same. Okay, so there you go. Now you know how to create a fun fold card simply by cutting apart your standard card base. And you have 2 different ways that you can decorate it. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.